Yeah. It's coming back in 1 second.
Hello, Amrock.
Yeah.
We are live with our first Friday at a weird time. Usually we do these at like 6. I know it's 8:30, but it's 5:30 for us.
Yeah.
Because we're in Las Vegas.
So we're actually a half hour early for First Friday.
Indeed we are.
Yeah.
We're in Las Vegas for the Consumer Electronics Show, or CES. I'm sorry, Linda, I didn't just say that. I'm not supposed to say those words anymore. It's CES 2023.
And we're here.
We
and this
are.
is the first time we've always wanted to do this. We've always helped out remotely with plug hits and with the videos and stuff like that. And we're so excited that we had the opportunity to be here this year to see this amazing thing in person.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's absolutely amazing.
This is the small building.
I know. I know. It took us forever to even find the booth. So absolutely astounding. And Brandy is with us over at Amrock after a full day of stuff over there. We're connected across the country here.
We are. It's exciting.
Yeah, I saw some cool stuff today.
Amrock is doing well. Yep, Amrock is doing well today. We're fully ready for the FTC kickoff.
FRC?
Tomorrow. Yep, FRC. Sorry, FRC kickoff tomorrow. We're ready for that. We did soldering today with students. We built some curriculum, and we had some awesome meetings with some different nonprofit groups and a couple of business industries that want to come in and partner together.
Nice.
So it was a very busy day. I will probably be working tonight. That's okay. It's
You know what? Late nights happen, especially here. We will also be having a late night tonight because this doesn't stop. As soon as we come down from this, we've got another event to go to. It's just
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure.
nonstop
Well, we
here.
were fascinated. So one of the things, and I know Brandy, we're going to explore this more when we get back, Brandy. Steve and I got caught up looking at age tech by the AARP.
Yes.
And I never actually put together, I mean, I'm at that AARP age now, but my interest in tech, it's just changed. It hasn't, diminished significantly. As I get older and things get newer and faster, it can be hard to figure some things out. But the fact that they have a startup program for people working in age-related technology is brilliant.
We've actually had them on the show in the past.
Yeah.
I think with Marlo from the Tech Ranch.
Okay.
The program is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. We were looking at the game, and I'm not going to remember the name of it now. There was a game product where you could actually, and the price points weren't horrible on it. It was really a cool device where you could interact with an elderly family member who's like in an ALF somewhere far away with this device. You could play games. You could still do your game nights together.
Nice.
And it was like really user-friendly. Like you didn't have to be very precise with your movements, right? It would recognize if you were doing a finger, if you were doing a hand, or if you were doing a game piece.
Okay.
So really, really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We've gotten to see some really cool stuff. Also, some stuff that could fall into that like age tech. In fact, the booth right behind us, which we've got a fun story about it. Todd and I watched them build it, and the further along they got, the further away I felt like I was getting. So as they were building it, we're like, I don't know what they're building. They put a thing on a stick and then it disappeared. But anyway, so they have a thing so you can black out a room. So if you're sleeping at a different cycle than everybody else, you can black out your windows, and then it'll still, when you decide to wake up, it will do sunrise through your window,
lighting?
on your window shade at the time that you determine.
That's pretty cool.
Which would be good for either people who are
shifts,
people who are living off normal time, including older people who tend to over time start shifting earlier and earlier.
Right.
You can pull the same thing off here.
That's pretty
it's
awesome.
Really cool.
That is really, really amazing. And you don't know what you.
Yeah, go ahead.
really cool about that. We've got so many partnerships with government industries and like people in the military who they work 24 hours a day. They work a lot of Panama shifts where they work nights or weekends or evenings, and then they flip back to States, and they find that actually a large cause of depression and for some PTSD issues is the messing up of your sleep cycle. So to be inventing technology that allows us to be more natural or we do it with life, which has always been the way that the brain knows to go to sleep and wake up, is so much better for us than using sleep pills or any of these kind of things that happen in traditional medicine. So as we see technology advancing, that is an awesome thing to see, and it just creates a more, a more comfortable living space for people to work.
Yeah, and in that kind of space on not taking medication, I did an interesting interview on a non-tech product at Showstoppers last night. It is a microalgae-based sleep aid. It is not. It's not a drug. It's not a supplement. It's considered a food. And there has been a Japanese study that showed that this little bit of whatever this particular microalgae is greatly increases your ability to sleep. It relaxes you so that you can go to sleep. Yeah. And then it actually manages to keep you more alert the next day instead of the opposite.
That's pretty cool.
Because a lot of sleep aids go the other direction.
Yeah.
So CES, and there's a reason why I'm not supposed to say those words anymore, because CES isn't necessarily just a consumer electronics show anymore. Yeah. There's so much more equally interesting beyond electronics and technology.
Right. Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff that shows up here. Yeah. I mean, the Reese's introduced the mini peanut butter cup at CES.
Okay, so, that's awesome. That's a win right there. Yeah.
It's more than just consumer electronics. Lots of interesting stuff happens here.
Yeah, and I think from the perspective of what we do at the Fab Lab, it's re-inspiring, right? Because you're trying to keep doing this programming, and you sort of get in this bubble of what you have and what. When you're talking to people or they're coming to you and you're asking, can you do this? Have you heard of that? Now you can sort of walk around here and it reinvigorates you. It really shows you what people are thinking about, what people are working. There's a lot of the same kinds of things. There are, variations on a theme.
Sure.
But you can see the trends on the themes, right?
Yeah.
Like, how the robotic lawnmower, like there was one. Now there's like a sea of robotic lawnmowers.
There's one right there.
Yep.
There's one right there.
There's a whole wall art of robotic lawnmowers. There's like a whole wall. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so there's like all these lawnmowers are on the wall.
I have been in this little box, except for today, where I went to the other side of town. Wow. I have seen nothing in this building. If I can't see it from here, I probably haven't seen it.
Well, there's a lot of ed tech we want to explore. So we're going to do most of our exploring tomorrow because Steve and I spent most of today being lost.
Yeah.
And so I think the first thing you should get is like a convention wayfinding thing. So
the CES app is really good.
I forgot to use it.
It is absolutely fantastic. Shout out to CES. And I know I said some stuff the other day about a particular feature that doesn't work right.
Yeah.
But the app is absolutely fantastic. Michelle and I were in the new building earlier today. We didn't know where we were because we've never been in the building before. And we were using the app to find our way around. It gives you navigation.
That's what we needed. And we forgot to use it.
What booth am I at? Where am I trying to go? Okay, go this way.
Yeah.
And then we did it at Central Hall, too.
Right.
Seriously, CES. It's a fantastic app.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
I did use it earlier when I remembered I had it, but I tracked down like things like ed tech, right, and robotics and education, STEM education stuff in here that we want to see and learn more about. And so, Brandy, when we're looking at STEM education, and I know we're struggling a little bit with the audio, but if we can hear okay, when you're looking at ed tech, what are you looking for to separate? I mean, while I'm here, I can shop. I can look around. What are you looking for? What do you think is useful, right, for teachers and others?
So number one, the first thing we're looking for is something that is different. Our name is Scoutlier for a reason. We're scouting outliers. We're looking for someone that is thinking a little bit differently, like that algae thing you were just talking about. Perfect example. We're also looking at things that aren't just pushing the envelope or creating technology to move top tier students into top tier jobs, we're looking for the technology that's accessible. It needs to be accessible and equitable so that when it comes into a school system, it supports all the students that are there, not just the elite top 3 to 5%. And that's one of the things I really like about CES is you're looking at everything that's coming on the market and you're able to start talking with inventors and saying, hey, you're building this thing. As you begin to prep it for schools, make sure you're thinking about those underserved populations, the schools that don't have as much tech bandwidth infrastructure as your schools in like Silicon Valley, Boston, New York, that are tech centers. Because even in Tampa, which is creating an innovation and tech center, which where we are, there are huge areas of places where there's not enough tech support for students to use tech in schools. There's not enough support for the teachers. So we're looking for technology that's not super expensive, is going to solve some real problems. There's got a social justice aspect to it, and that they're really wanting to make a difference in education. They're wanting to get people skills, not just make a lot of money off of schools. Because we've got to stop selling to schools. We've got to start supporting schools and upskilling students. So I am really excited to see what you bring back. I expect a big bag full of swag about great companies that are wanting to change the way we do technology and innovation in our school systems and the way we're connecting real world problems to education. And I expect you to find it, Terry.
Where do you think there are gaps now? What would we be looking for? There's a lot of things like, we've got a lot of different types of STEM kits. Do the solder, we do robotics. Where do you think there are gaps right now where there's anything missing in STEM ed or ed tech?
Well, when we look at like the idea of AR and VR, right? Those take very, very expensive computers to run. Is there someone that is developing resources that will run on something as simple as a Chromebook or even on a phone where you don't have to have a really high-powered system? What are they doing to go in between those activities? Another thing, the Department of Defense is really starting to look at, can you see the components on a circuit level? Is this something where everything's encased in plastic and it's really pretty? We don't want to see that anymore. We want to actually see the wiring, see the circuits, see the components as they pull together so that students are learning how automation happens. For example, I love the Dash robot. It's a super fun robot for kids, but it's completely covered in a dark blue plastic. Kids program it, but they don't know why. The Ozobot and the Sphero, they're completely see-through. You can see all of the sensors. We're looking for something where you can see how the robot works. Not only can you see it, but you can build with it, you can manipulate it yourself. Another accessibility feature is, do they have the ability to start with something as low as block-based coding, but in the same exact system, move all the way up to an advanced programming language? They can get there.
Okay,
I don't know
so
if you can hear
Scott
me.
got all excited there.
okay,
So
I've got a product for you.
can't wait to hear what he's going to say here.
It is a robotic dog called Pixel, Pyxel, I think. It is $79. He specifically priced it so that it wasn't unaffordable. He said, my goal is to get it into people's hands, not to make money on it. It is programmable from an iPad or anything with a web browser. It starts with Blockly and then also has Python. And all of the sensors are, so it's enclosed, but the sensors and everything are set off the body so that you can see where they are. You can interact with them directly. And so it kind of hits all of your things, and the tutorial is the help code. He showed me the whole thing. I did a great interview last night. So it's
I'll have to find that one.
it's 3 columns. The left column is the name in Blockly. The middle column is what it does, and the right column is the code in Python. So after you've learned how to do it in block code, you know what the name is. The name is Bark. So then the center column tells you what Bark does in Blockly, and then on the right, it gives you the code that you can copy and paste to put into Python to hit run.
Okay, that's
How's
awesome.
that?
That is exactly what we're talking about. You have to understand that, especially today where educators are dropping out quickly and moving into other fields, you are likely going to have a teacher that is a STEM teacher that is cross-training from another class. They might have been a science teacher, they might have been a math teacher, they might have been a social studies teacher, they might be like me, who was an English teacher. But I use technology a lot in my class, and I thought it was really fun and impactful on my students. So I could teach content through the lens of technology. These are the people that are going to be teaching STEM and our REST careers, the rapidly evolving science and technology careers, but they may have never actually taken a class in how to do that. So we need products that support all this area, because someone might be really advanced in a class. Maybe they've gone to a summer camp, they've got some Python. Someone else is going to be struggling with block-based code. Because they have built it to be accessible and equitable, so it works on any device, a teacher doesn't have to worry that, oh my gosh, this only works on the iPad, and when my iPad is out of date, I can't use this anymore, because it'll work on multiple devices. This is what makes something accessible. This is what makes something equitable. I'm not interested in a program that will only run on an iPad, because how many schools don't have iPads? How many schools are Chromebooks? I'm not interested in something that only works on a Chromebook, because how many schools are Microsoft schools? You need to have something that plays in all of those arenas. And the inventors that recognize that are the ones that, number one, they understand the needs of our current demographic in schools. And number two, they understand that our world is evolving quickly and you have to be able to react. Google Chrome, Chromebooks, iPads, desktop computers, web-based is the way of the future. And that is going to be really important as we move forward with student data privacy controls that are happening. All of these things are things you have to think about as an inventor if you're even thinking that you're going to go to a school. If you're thinking you're going to sell to children, you have to be thinking about privacies for kids. And web browsing apps need to have those protocols in place. So, Terry, when you're talking to people, first question. Run.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah. Are we back on? Okay. No, I like that. I think that's fantastic. I think all of that stuff. There's so much here. Like we really basically saw one aisle on our way over to the booth here. There's just so much, and we kept stopping at everything else. So I know that we also saw a lot of like robotics training kits and things like that. So we want to explore a little bit of those. So what kinds of things like that we would use in the Fab Lab for informal education. So we're looking for a lot of things for informal education as well as things teachers would use, right? Because when you put together some of the kits too, you want them to be as much off-the-shelf kind of stuff or things that are easy to use and in a number of different kinds of environments. Like when we're working with the Boys and Girls Club next door, when they start bringing the kids over. After school programming, we want to be able to have these things that we can just roll out when we have volunteers who don't necessarily know how to use all these things either, right? And so,
well, that's one of the things we'll do. We'll do that together as we find the right products. If you find things that you're in love with, at Scoutwire, we'll start working with those developers to make sure that what they're creating is really step by step scaffolded for our volunteers and are people to be able to run those. We'll really make sure that happens. So that's one of the great things about our partnership together is you can find the innovators, you can find the people we can bring in, build in those educational supports so that what we do here at AMROC to drive innovation can support innovation anywhere. So I'm excited.
That goes back to that idea, like when we saw the H-Tech with AARP, it's like it gives us that one more connection for people who we're working with that we didn't have before. Like, you know, when people are coming in with a particular startup idea, we always try to connect them with, you know, their next step or a next level or the next resource. So we have to be really well informed about what's out there in order to help people, you know, achieve their goals as well. You know, they achieve their goals, we achieve our goals. But
this is a great place to learn about some of those resources because even some of the VCs are here walking around or even with booths like the AARP startup, which is essentially a VC, right? It's a startup venture capital firm. So there are VCs that have booths. There are VCs that are walking around. Getting to know that those exist is difficult, and this is a good place to learn about, you know, what is out there, what resources exist. I mean, there's a startup. I don't remember what it's called. It was this morning, and Robbie sponsored it. The startup. It was with the Consumer Technology Association. Is the trade organization that puts on CES. Their logo's right here behind me. The CTA has a foundation for startups, which is where Eureka Park downstairs comes from. Is from the CTA Foundation. They did a whole big pitch, like startup pitch event today. I think it was a pitch event, from what I understand from Robbie, downstairs, and a former Eureka Park exhibitor who has gone on Shark Tank and gone on to be, you know, partners with Kevin O'Leary and a whole sponsored the event.
Oh, that's cool.
So even the CTA themselves has resources to help startups get started.
They invited us to come to the pitch event tonight for the ARP thing. Which is going on, you know, down the hall or something.
Somewhere.
But but I mean it's fascinating what you can do and what's available and what's out there and what's constantly being developed and how hard it is to keep up with it. I mean, that's just, it's very easy. I don't even know how schools can even start to do it, right? There's always this lag between the technology that's out there and when it makes it to the schools, and by the time they get it, the time to learn to use it, is it already outdated? You know, or, you know, I remember when I was the regional director for First Robotics, and I would go, you know, to schools and talk to them, and a teacher would open up a cabinet or like a closet and go, I have these, you know, dozen, you know, VEX kits. I don't know what to do with them. And they've been sitting there for 4 or 5 years. They were already out of date, right? And so how do you create more evergreen products, more evergreen things that people can use, that are easy to update, you know, that are applicable across the board, not just for kids, but for adults, you know?
And I'll tell you, that Pixel Dog is something that I want. Like, I legitimately want one. I wanted to distract him long enough to run with one. So that's definitely, and you know, one of the things that we always say with FIRST and VEX and things like that is programming for something that affects the real world is different than programming and having something come up on a screen or come up on your phone and your computer or whatever. It's very different. And to both of your point, when you're doing stuff like that, where there's a web browser or a web server built into the device, and you can just connect Wi-Fi direct and do it from a web browser, it's not going to go out of date. You don't have to worry about, well, the app only works on iOS 14 and above, and my iPad can't go to 14. Sad story, QQ. The browser still exists, and it doesn't matter. You still have your browser. You can still do it, no problem. So that's a huge selling point on that device, and the fact that it was $79. And
that's a great price point.
And the thing is, it's not the only thing like that. There are lots of devices like that. That just happens to be one that Adam and I stumbled upon last night. But you know, there's 3120, I think, is the number that I heard, exhibitors here.
Just in this building?
For CES. And a large percentage of them are downstairs in Eureka Park. They're small companies getting started. The CTA has a whole program to allow startups under a certain amount
That's where we start tomorrow.
to exhibit for very cheap.
Okay.
Because this booth back here behind me is probably 50 grand to have rented for the 4 days.
Yeah.
Downstairs, they pay like $1,500.
Oh, wow.
It's
That's
a
great
very small
yeah.
amount of money. And that's a number that's just coming to mind. I don't know if that's the exact
Yeah.
number, but it's somewhere in that space. Now, it's a 10 by 10 as opposed to,
But look where you are.
the 30 by 30 we got behind us.
Yeah.
But, when you're a startup, you might have a prototype. What you need is a great sign, a banner, one of those $150 banners that you can get that's got 3 bullet points, no more than 20 words, a great picture at the bottom, and a smile on your face.
Well, that's going to be. We'll
That's
take
what you
pictures.
need.
We're going to take pictures down there for the entrepreneurship group, right? And
Yeah.
hey, this is what a booth looks like. This is what a good booth looks like. This is what brings people in.
Yeah, exactly.
And even that part of it, Go ahead, Brandy.
Harry, one thing I want you to think about, one of the things we're trying to launch this year is the idea of a lending library. You were talking about, going into schools and opening cabinets, and they've got a whole set of some classroom supplies that they never knew how to use. One of the things we're going to be starting this summer, with AMROC and Scoutlier together, is a Scoutlier Academy where teachers can come here. Teachers can come here to AMROC, get their hands on technology, try it out themselves, and then we teach them how to write grants to get the resources in their classroom. Because the hardest thing for a teacher is to it's usually their boss finds something at a conference like what you're at, thinks this is the coolest thing and buys it, brings it to the school, and the teacher doesn't have the training support to have it. Through our partnership between Scoutlier and AMROC, we're going to be able to provide that this summer. People can come here, train on well-known devices, but also get their hands on some new-to-market devices. What works, what doesn't work. Use them with older iPads, new iPads, cell phones, Chromebooks, desktop computers, laptop computers, so they can actually see how all of these devices are going to work in their classroom. So as you're looking around, you're walking through these systems, and you see something that you think, wow, I would really love to have 1 or 2 of these at AMROC to showcase. Those will be great resources to put in our lending library and for Scoutlier Academy, where we're training our teachers of the future. Especially, remember, we just signed that agreement. We've got kids coming from USF, from the education department that are going to be coming in here, trying things out. If you find cool stuff there, like maybe go find out that dog, bring it back in here. Let's see what we can get in here that is really pushing the envelope for STEM and hands-on learning, and how we can help support the training, because that's where we really shine, and that's why we're there. That's why we're at CES, to see what's there, to see what will work, and then actually bring it back and let real kids and real teachers get their hands on it and say, yeah, this works. Bring them into classrooms. Or sometimes to say, this looked really cool, but it won't actually work in our classroom as is. So that's something that we can offer to new entrepreneurs at CES and different organizations that are trying to get new technology off the ground, is that we're making those connections with them.
Excellent. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm thinking if we can get that dog, we can take it on the airplane as a therapy dog. Put a little jacket on it.
They did carry it in a little travel case, little carrier.
So that was the other one. That was the one from WowE.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was Doggy, right? Okay.
Oh, that's funny.
Which also was $79.
Yeah, and Brandy's going late over there tonight. I don't want to keep you real long, but we just wanted to take this opportunity to sort of think about some of these things that are here and how they apply in the real world, because you can come through here and you look at all this stuff and you go, wow, that's a lot of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much stuff.
Yes.
But it all has a place somewhere, right? It's a matter of, in our case, narrowing it down to, and we've gotten better at it, right? What are our actual use cases for different things? this is really cool. Are we really going to use it in our environment? Maybe not, but maybe we know somebody who can, right? And if we're working with all these entrepreneurs, just again having this background, having this sort of appetizer of all the things that are out there is going to be good for our knowledge base and for what we're bringing to others. So we're excited to have Brandy's expertise here to help us out and be able to sort of do this coast to coast exploration here. This is great.
It has been great. I'm super glad that you're taking lots of pictures. You've been sharing some with me today so we can show our young entrepreneurs and the people from entrepreneurship equity programs that we're doing here so they understand the importance of market research, because you are seeing a very full market of people doing similar things. And just because someone's doing something similar to you doesn't mean you can't both be successful. But you better understand there's a good market for what you're trying to make. But you are right. It is actually very late now, and I have to be here very early tomorrow. So I am going to sign off, and I hope you guys have fun. Go find some really cool stuff and get some business cards so we can give them a call when you get back. Miss you guys.
Miss you too. We'll see you again soon. Thank you for doing the first robotics competition kickoff tomorrow. It's going to be exciting. It'll be great to see what the new game is. We'll be sharing out some photos about that. I think we've got something like 75 students coming, and we're using the auditorium upstairs.
Oh, really?
To do the live stream, and we got the okay to use that, and then they're going to come down and get tours of AMROC, pick up their kits. Teams that want to hang out and brainstorm can. And then off we go to the new season of First Robotics. So when we'll come back with some new knowledge, and we'll keep the home fires burning at AMROC for everybody with some good skills, tools, and resources.
All right, guys, y'all have fun.
We'll certainly try. That's the goal.
Bye, Brandy.
Bye, friends.
That was awesome. That was really fun.
So on the topic of first.
Yes.
So Michelle and I were over at the West Hall earlier, and as we walked in, the West Hall is ridiculous.
Okay.
It's the first time we've been in it. It has been open for a year and a week because CES 2022 was the first event to use it.
Okay.
And so we walk in. The foyer has this giant screen in it, and on it, on one side is Bosch, and on the other side is First. And then they ran a video, obviously from Champs, of kids in, doing things. Woo! And they came back and it had First and Bosch.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, tomorrow. I would have expected that tomorrow, but that's exciting.
Yeah.
It was really cool to be at CES, in the CES hall, and see one of the exhibitors take the time and money and resources that they had for display to turn it into a first partnership display.
That's awesome.
That was so cool.
And that goes back to what we're doing with tech at AMROC and with these programs. They see this stuff. The sponsors are scouting for engineers from these programs. They want to recruit the kids that are in these programs. So, they're proud of being part of it. So I think that's pretty awesome. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
But this is fun. I can't wait to do some more exploring tomorrow. And now that I sort of remember I have the app, and I know and I've got my marching orders from Brandy on what to be looking for. So, I've got my list. And we're going to go explore and see what else we can do and have some great conversations and help you guys out wherever we can as well.
You'll have a lot of fun conversations here.
Yes, you and Steve.
We already have.
You have absolutely no idea what you're going to encounter.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part of the show, especially in this building.
Yeah.
The convention center is great. There's a lot of big companies in the convention center. However, the interesting stuff happens here. As Nakia likes to say, especially downstairs, a lot of them are in the mad scientist phase. They've got an idea. They're pitching their crazy idea. It is absolutely never going to come to market. However, some aspect of it is going to get patented. Some aspect of it is going to get licensed or sold and get incorporated into something else. Or they're going to get, the whole company will be acquired by somebody and that will get integrated into something. I used the example yesterday. It's a good thing we got our own lights because it's just got dark in here.
They're going home.
That's you have to go home, but you can't stay here.
That's it's 6 o'clock. Get out.
Yeah.
In case you were curious.
Yep.
But I used the example yesterday. of Michelle, Avram, and I think it was Michelle, we encountered years ago, this watch. It was a regular looking watch. It wasn't a smart watch or anything like that, but there was a little thing that you would set it down into to unlock your computer.
Okay.
And there were sensors in it that as soon as you undid the band and it came off your body, it was no longer authenticated. You had to go through a process on the watch, but then you could unlock things with it. Huh. Now, that's an interesting concept. Mm-hmm. Never came to market because implementation-wise, it was a little crazy. Mm-hmm. However, today, I can do that with this.
Yeah.
This one right here can unlock my computer.
That one right there?
Uh-huh. This can unlock my computer. It's got the sensors in it. Mm-hmm. I'm no longer authenticated.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that technology, they had patents on it. They have likely licensed it almost certainly to Apple, almost certainly to Google, almost certainly to Fitbit, all of which can do it. Mm-hmm. And so it was a 90% product. The other 10% was crazy, having to have a dock. This has Bluetooth. Right. Everything's fine.
But that's what we tell people, right? So when you're coming up with ideas, be open-minded about where your idea might go. Yeah. Where you're going with it may not actually be the best place for it to go.
Yeah, wait for the pivot.
Right.
So here, one of the things that we always look for when talking to especially one of the Eureka Park companies is they will say, I've got this thing, here it is, here's my thing. And they will smile at you. And you go, that's really interesting. Could I use it to do this? And if they get uncomfortable, it's time to move on. Yeah. But if they go, I've never thought of that. Absolutely, it could be used like that. And what if you did this?
Yeah.
If they answer that way, those people are going to make it. Right. If they push hard enough, those people are going to make it. But the people who go, it's not meant for that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was excited about like Martika and Boop, and I know we got to wrap it up, but Martika and Boop comes to mind there.
Yeah.
So she started Boop for the customizable profiles, right, for business networking. She's adapting it for pets.
Yep.
Because there was interest in that, right?
Yep.
She saw that. She's like, okay, somebody suggested it. She's like, that's an idea. That's something we can do. So that idea of like, here's my thing, and this is what I designed it for. But somebody else suggested a different application, and who knows if that application doesn't even take off more.
Right.
Right? You don't know, and you have to be open and willing to consider these things.
Exactly.
So.
When Robbie pitched us his padlock, I went to, and his story is, I always forget it until he tells it again. His story is he was at the gym, somebody else had locked their key in their locker, and he thought, isn't there a better way? And they had to come and cut the lock off to get the key, which now doesn't matter because the lock's been cut in half. Isn't there a better way that I don't have to have my keys? And Benji Lock was born. He did not ever expect that he'd be making a bike lock. Mm-hmm. That wasn't his intention, but people said, this is a great technology. I would certainly use it. Could I secure my bike with it? And he went, yeah, of course you could. And off they went to make a bike lock. To the best of my knowledge, it's the only biometric bike lock I've ever encountered. Wow. And it's a great idea.
Yeah.
But no, I want to make padlocks. No, I want to help you with biometric security.
I want to sell my product, so if you have a better use for my product than I came up with, yes, let's run with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, being able to pivot, you don't have to pivot complete.
Right. I got to give up your principles and everything, all that. Yeah.
PayPal is the exception, not the rule, right? Yes, they made an encryption system and made PayPal as a demo of the encryption, and PayPal worked.
Yeah.
2 of the 5 wanted to shut it down because it was in their way, and 3 of the 5 wanted to keep it and get rid of the encryption.
Yeah.
Luckily, they went the right direction with that, because can you imagine if they had just gone, no, people are using PayPal, we got to get rid of
it. Yeah.
So, not everything is that extreme.
Right. Yep.
That was a bizarre swing. But every company pivots at some point.
Yeah.
This is not what Plug Hits was in the
Amrock pivots. Everything does. Everything moves
so
along.
So much better now.
It's so much better now. But I mean, the idea that we were going to be more like a production company for hire than this production company for ourselves. we took a big turn at some point. So everybody pivots at some point.
Yeah, you got to be open to the opportunities,
Yeah.
and when at the most prime opportunity to make a change or to go in a different direction.
Microsoft does not make or support DOS anymore.
Yeah. However, it was really important at the time.
Indeed, it was.
But this is great. I appreciate the opportunity to do this. I know you guys had a long day and you stayed open a little bit longer for us. So thank you so much. And I want people back home to know that whenever we can, we try and find out more. Right? We try to learn more. We always are trying to inform ourselves. We're always trying to bring the latest knowledge and the latest technology. Even if we don't have it ourselves in the Fab Lab, we will know where it is.
Yeah.
Right. And then so we're better armed with knowledge, and we can better arm the people we serve. So
For sure.
we appreciate it. We're excited about it. Can't wait to do some more exploring tomorrow. And this is great.
It's a ton of fun.
Yeah. This is terrific.
Downstairs is going to blow your mind.
I definitely
honest
want
to
to
God.
go. We're going
Have
to go
you been downstairs yet? Or
Not
did you
yet.
come up
Only
here
when we were
first?
wandering lost. We came up here first.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
But
When you get down to Eureka Park,
I think that's our first stop tomorrow.
you're going to have absolutely no idea what you're going to encounter. From booth to booth, you're going to look at a biometric lock and then a fishing weight with a camera in it. That's a real example. Those were next to each other one year. So
You know what? It's
you never
interesting.
know what you're
We're
going to
wandering,
find.
and we haven't obviously only seen a fraction of things. I haven't seen any drones. I know they're here somewhere.
North Hall back corner, I think,
Yeah.
is where they
which
are.
I thought was interesting. Very robotics, a lot of industrial or home residential robotics, a lot of that stuff.
Right.
This is interesting.
That's the
but-
get out message.
Yeah.
Luckily, we don't have to. Continue.
But anyway, so we want to look at some of these different things too, because the drones are actually taking off. Yeah.
Wordplay.
We're tired. But yeah, so there's lots of cool stuff. So I can't wait, and I wish I could go shopping. We have the credit card from home. No?
A lot of the stuff's not for sale here. But
I know.
They actually have to pay extra to be able to vend on the
yeah,
sale,
yeah.
on the floor.
You might get some swag though.
We're getting a lot of cards. That's all. We're good.
That's good.
We're taking pictures.
Unless you brought an empty suitcase, getting swag is not always the best.
No, I'm sure. Yeah. So.
Could be a
Oh yeah,
challenge
you
to get.
came with carry-ons.
We
You
came
didn't
with
check
carry-on,
bags.
no.
You can't get her bags and bags of swag.
I got my bag expands a little.
A little.
A little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get the little swag.
I will. Yeah. And I'll give you the big stuff to take home, and we'll go sort it back.
Oh, see how she has a plan.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, she came prepared with that one.
Yeah.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah. I'm ready. So I think Steve has extra room too. He brought an extra little empty bag. Yeah.
Good boy.
He was planning ahead.
He has no
He's
idea
over
why
there.
you just said
I
good boy
know.
to
Good boy,
him.
Steve.
He just smiles.
Shall we put the camera on Steve?
Yeah, briefly he should. He's here. We're all here. Okay, there's Steve.
Hang on, I gotta
Nope,
switch
hold
to
on.
him.
There's
Oh,
Nancy
Steve.
there's
Anelante.
Steve.
Wave to the
Wait,
camera, everybody.
Steve Anelante. Tampa's here in Las Vegas.
Tampa in the house.
Yeah,
Adam's hiding
we're
around the
sticking
corner.
together because it's easy to get lost out there.
Adam's in the corner hiding from the
Yeah, he's
camera.
around. He's like
around
yeah.
there.
I'm going to wave at him
This
anyway,
is
though.
why Strike is closed this week. Everybody's here. So
Yes, strikes close.
You might see his hand.
There's a
I don't know if
hand.
you
Yeah,
can.
there's a hand.
there's a hand. All right.
There he is. There he is.
Yay, the whole gang is here.
Most of the gang.
Yeah, most, not everybody. But thank you again for doing this. Thank you for those who tuned in, and for those who watch later. Share your thoughts and ideas and what you're looking for and what you need, and we will do our best to get everybody. Oh, there's Michelle. There she is. Nope.
And before
Okay.
before we go, are you able to put the crowd shot on? Are you able?
I've actually done it as you were talking.
Oh, have
yeah,
you?
I've seen some.
But I'll do
Awesome.
it again.
Yeah.
Well, first I'll put me on. Hi.
Yay! Can't do it without Michelle.
And you want crowd.
The infinite camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the show floor, weirdly emptied out.
Yeah.
This is the view that we get. Well, kind of. The booths aren't built yet.
Yeah.
When we get here to build the studio, it's empty like this, except there's forklifts and big machinery, and the booths don't look this complete. So
Yeah, and it's funny. I was telling Steve, the biggest conference I've been to, we've been to the championship event, which is huge. It's not really a conference. It has conference stuff in it, but I've been to ITSEC, which is a massive defense conference, just absolutely massive. Totally different,
Yeah, yeah.
services and products. But here it's like, oh, this is like a high-tech flea market. It's awesome, It's like
Yeah,
I don't know where
yeah.
I want to go first. It is. It's like it just. one thing leads to another. You're just going down rabbit holes constantly,
Yep.
you know, and trying to stay focused. That's why I needed my shopping list from Brandy.
Makes sense.
You know, because otherwise you just spend a whole lot of time on stuff just
Yeah.
because it's cool. But
To put the show into perspective for you, the preliminary number that we're hearing, they're going to give us a closer number tomorrow
Okay.
because the CTA will be on the show. The number that I've heard bounced around, they had expected 100,000. The number I've heard bounced around is 170 is
I
what
believe
actually
it.
appeared.
I believe it. Everywhere we've been, we've seen the tags
Yeah.
and stuff.
Last year was 44, just
Okay.
to
People are coming back. Yeah.
just to put that into perspective
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
170, 44, all virtual, 185, 170. So it looks like
was that standard numbers before COVID?
so
Or-
185 and 170
Okay.
were 2020 and 2019.
Okay.
So we're at 2019 numbers.
Okay.
We're not, and that's again,
a number of reasons, but
whoever
yeah,
comes
yeah.
on the show
Sure.
tomorrow will give us a better number. Usually what they do is tell us how many badges have been printed,
Yeah.
which isn't a great number because my mother's badge had to be printed twice. So that
Yeah.
number is not going to be great,
Yeah.
but it'll be good
Close.
enough.
Close, yeah.
They'll do a forensic audit and get us real numbers usually in March.
Right.
But tomorrow we'll have an idea of how many. So 170 is what we're hearing.
Yeah. That's cool though. So
Yeah.
I'm showing my lighty uppy booth behind you.
You're showing up what?
My lighty uppy things
Oh, there's
booth
a lighty
behind
uppy
you.
thing.
The Govee booth.
I'm enthralled with that
That's really pretty. We started
that
to
Christmas
walk,
light chandelier.
We started to walk through there and it was really cool but it was crowded, so.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
I got to get myself in there. Alante and I want to go.
It's
and
not crowded
maybe do
now.
An interview.
Yeah.
It's closed now.
Oh,
but
The Internet of Toilets is behind us too.
indeed it is.
the Internet
Yeah.
of Toilets, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never know
Yes.
what you're going to find.
And when you were talking about the automatic grass cutting
yeah,
robots,
the robot mowers.
there's one down there that just goes and picks dandelions.
Oh. Huh.
It's down. It's
So
the
it's
one
like
at the
a-
end over here?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? Because it's significantly smaller than these.
yeah, and they have little.
It's a weed pulling bot.
Okay.
It's a weed pulling bot.
Wow.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
And
Nice.
there's a bunch of
So ag tech is fabulous. I mean, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot of ag tech.
So we saw John Deere and
Caterpillar.
Caterpillar earlier.
Huge.
Big
Danielle
machines.
interviewed John Deere a few years ago.
That was
got
fun.
up in it and yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Because that's an industry that most people don't know is massively high tech.
Yeah.
You've got this image in your head of overalls and no shirt.
Well, they were
and
at
that's
the heart-
not it.
They were at the heart of the no repair of the, you couldn't repair your own tractors anymore. They were at the heart of that issue, which changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that a lot of that's changed now. But we're going to get going. 'Cause
Okay.
We want to eat dinner and
Yep,
stuff,
yep, yep.
and we want to explore a little bit more. And I know there's more adventurous stuff to do here.
Indeed there
and,
is.
Thank you for joining us our first Friday at the Fab Lab between Tampa and Las Vegas. That was a first.
Yes, it
That was
was.
a lot of fun. And we will be back in February. I have no idea what we're bringing you then, but it'll be interesting. And thank you all again. And thank you, Scott. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Alante. Thank you, everybody at Plug Hits, for having us here and having us on and helping us learn some new stuff to bring back to home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is great.
Jinx.
So happy you can see all the stuff we've been talking about for
great.
so long.
Yeah. It's very different firsthand.
It definitely is. All right. Good night.
Signing off.
Bye-bye.